Okay, so I know there's been a lot of confusion about the syllables that we learned today, but I feel like I can clear it up. So first of all, I'd like to say that I think that she went a little bit out of order. I know the order in the textbook is to learn the phonemes, which is the two syllables. The it's these ones, but I think that doing that is kind of messed us up because it's those are made up of smaller symbols, which we could have learned first to then help us remember the phonemes better. So I want to go over those first. So first off, we have the shepherd's hook, and I don't know if this has a fancy name. Google called it like a yo or something. I think she just calls it a zh. Uh, the shepherd's hook makes the sh sound. Very simple, just sh. And so sheep would become uh, it would become that with a shepherd's hook. And the zh sound makes it's not like a z. Well, real quick about the zh, by the way. I like to think of it as kind of like to help me remember it. I think of it as not like a number three, but kind of as a fancy z, where it's a z with a tail. So like that's a z, and the tail comes down. If it helps you, cool. If not, ignore it. But it makes there are words in the English language, and I'm gonna zoom out. There are words in the English language that use the s to make a zh sound, like vision. That is what this symbol does. So measure, vision, usual. All of those will use a zh instead of an s or a z. And so uh, in terms of writing them, make sure the shepherd's hook comes beneath the line where the rest of your letters are coming down or coming from. Like the bottom, the baseline. Make sure it goes under the baseline, and try not to make it look like a capital S. Uh, and the zh just looks like a fancy three. Some people write their threes with a flat top. I don't, but it will really be right in the middle of the baseline. She says she doesn't care about that. I am just picky. But now that we know both of those, we can combine them with these ones. So when you think of ch, there is some sh in there. Church, church, church. And I like it, I don't know why I can remember this, but having it be a T and then the shepherd's hook really makes a lot of sense to me because it's like a ch, 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 which is kind of what the ch, ch. It's like a harsher sh, ch, 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 ch. That's how I remember it. It's the ch. I don't know. I forgot to go over what they were called, but it's a ch. Uh, and so it is made up of the shepherd's hook, the sh, plus a t at the front. It's kind of like a diphthong for a consonant. I feel like. That in terms of the j sound, like for judge or jet down here, it is made up of j with a sharper consonant at the beginning, like j, 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 judge, judge, judge. And so that's how I remember it. It's I don't know if you guys would think it would make more sense with a different consonant, but this is the one that we have, so that's just how I kind of force myself to remember it. But moving on, I think where most of the confusion is coming from. Oh, and by the way, uh, chair would be chair. It would just be the T shepherd's hook, chair. But I think the one that got a lot of us in class was combining them and when to use them versus when not to use them. And so I want to start with which one did I start with? Trips. So I wrote this: trips, not chips. When to use the shepherd's hook or just a T shepherd's hook and a T shepherd's hook ch versus when to just use a tura and write a T and an R. And so the big thing is that there are words in the English alphabet that we pronounce wrong on a daily basis, technically, according to the general American English. When I say the word trip, I say it with a ch. Trip. I'm taking a trip. But the proper way to pronounce it is trip, 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 trip. And I'm going to try to pronounce it stronger than she did. So trip, trip versus trip, trip. And so writing that out, you wouldn't write it with one of the new symbols that we have. It wouldn't be trip. This would be trip. Like almost like you would write CHRIP, trips, trips. It's not trips. And again, it might sound like I'm saying the word trips sorry, I just said it wrong. It might sound like I'm saying this word, but I'm not saying that word. I'm saying the improper pronunciation that I'm saying almost looks like this. Trips. That's how I would normally, non-IPA spelling, that is how I would normally say this word. But I say it incorrectly, and I think a couple other people do. But to reiterate, it would be trips, because that's the proper pronunciation of it. I hope that wasn't super confusing. If it made it worse, I apologize. Oh, my computer just turned off. But I think the other really frustrating one is also, it's the same deal. Drugs versus jugs. So, ignore the fact that that doesn't have an R in there. Same thing with the chip and the trip. It wasn't that good of a metaphor. Just anything that you can use to remember. When to use a J or a DR. So, when I say the word drugs, I say with a J, drugs. And again, that's incorrect. We're not supposed to say it like that because that's apparently just not how it's said. Oh, why is my lamp not on? Cool, I got the cool lighting. But the correct way to pronounce it would actually be, and the correct way to pronounce it would be drugs. And it's not, it doesn't sound like when she says it, it sounds like drugs. She's like in this weird in-between place of like ja and dra, but the point is that it's supposed to be drugs and not drugs. So it would not be, with the new symbol that we learned, it would not be using the ja, rugs. It would be just drugs. That is how that was the correct way to pronounce it. And write it out in APA. You have to do it dra, not ja, dra. So, with all of that being said, I think all of that is to say that it's kind of confusing. Just be very mindful when you're listening to her. Actually, you know what? Listen to her, write down the word, and if it's at anything with like a DR or a TR, it's going to not be the new symbols that we learned. It's just going to be ja and dra. Personally, I think it's a little bit frustrating because I want to write IPA the way that I normally pronounce it, and I feel like the majority of people that I know pronounce it, but that is not what the point of the class is. We're supposed to be writing IPA the way that she's saying it, and even though it sounds like she's saying it the same way I'm saying it, I know that it's not correct. So, again, if any of that is confusing, I'd be happy to go over it with you in person. It's really, really hard to get this in a video format in a way that makes sense. I tried to write it down as much on whiteboards as I could, but again, I remember the symbols, this one and this one, basing them off of the shepherd's hook and the zh. Like, they are extra special versions of that, like extra special combinations of that. That's how I remember them, if memory is an issue. But in terms of which one to use when, just be very careful. It's trips, not trips, or drugs, not sorry, I just pronounced both of them wrong. It's trips, not trips, and drugs, not drugs, if that makes sense. Anyway, I hope this helped. I don't know how I'm gonna send this to you guys. I think I might post it to YouTube and then send you guys a link. But this is how that works. If you have any other questions about IPA stuff, I know a fair bit. I'm not the best at explaining it on video, but if you need any help, I am here. Even if you're in the other class, I would be happy to help. I find this very fun. I know Anthony is also very proficient in this, and people have been getting help from him. And also Ella in our class is very, very proficient at this. Or I guess maybe not very, very proficient. I don't know how she feels. I know Anthony's confident. I think Ella's confident as well. And anyone else who claims to be confident. But yeah, that is all. That is IPA, those 4 symbols. Thank you. And I best of luck on the quiz tomorrow.